That's the way to start Labor Day football, with a fly pass from the F-18s from the 409 Fighters Squadron from Cold Lake, Alberta. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the Canadian Football League and Labor Day weekend, and proud home of the 2008 Grey Cup game. Well, it's the most anticipated Labor Day matchup at McMahon since 2000 as these two 5-3 Alberta teams collide. There was some snow in Canmore, but a great day for football, although a fall-like temperature of 11 degrees. Danny Machocha and the Edmonton Eskimos can clinch the season series with a win today after posting a 34-31 victory over the Stamps back in July. John Hufnagel's Stampeders back at home for the first time in almost a month and coming off back-to-back road wins, and impressive ones at that, against Saskatchewan and British Columbia.
Well, both with equal records. This game more than just a football game. It's got playoff intensity, and the F-18 flyby just reminds you of that. It just reminds me of games like this. I get the goosebumps going again. Tons of intensity in this football game, and of course, special thanks on the flyby to Lieutenant Jason Cletus Walker and his wingman, Captain Brett S'more Parker. Wasn't Maverick and Goose, but it was S'more and Cletus on the flyby, and it's ready. We're ready for Labor Day. Let's put on the pads.
Right on cue as well from the crew at Cold Lake. And this should have everything you'd expect on a Labor Day Monday. And two teams vying for second place in the CFL West. Also some fashion changes, which we will get to. Both teams sporting new looks, but it's the same old intense Alberta rivalry underway. And it's Kelly Campbell to kick things off, and he is hit immediately. Dwayne Carpenter right downfield, limiting the kickoff return to 12. And the Eskimos will start from their 25 as Ricky Ray, who comes off 448 yards of passing in his last start against Calgary.
He'll have A.J. Harris in the backfield. A breakout game for him versus Saskatchewan. 189 yards rushing. That's a tie for fifth best for an individual in the Edmonton Eskimos history. There's his receiving corps. Kamal Peterson emerges as a leader in that group. And up front, John Comiskey, former Calgary Stampeder, anchors the offensive line.
Today's starting lineup brought to you by Holiday Inn Hotels. Look again at Holiday Inn. And Mike Labinjo with the tackle as A.J. Harris, who had his breakout game in the last Edmonton start, 189 yards rushing, will set that Calgary defense for you.
Well, they'll have to now be more concerned up front with A.J. Harris after his last game at 189. And that's where Big Eddie Freeman in the middle helps out, along with the return of Howard Hodges. Juwan Armour, one of the best run stoppers at middle linebacker in the Canadian Football League. Wes Lysak, a big play for him, an interception, his first of the season versus the Lions a week ago. So the Calgary Stampeders, this Labor Day matchup, feel like they're coming together as a secondary and as a defense, improving, and they're leading the league versus the run so far after 8 weeks.
Budstein now blowing play in. We're ready to pick things up. 5 for A.J. Harris. And 2nd and 5 for the Eskimos. Ray with time underneath. Brock Ralph, who you saw featured in our pregame show with a first down catch up at the 37-yard line.
One thing the Calgary Stampeders talked about going into this game was to try and make it uncomfortable for Ricky Ray in the pocket. You mentioned his big game against this football team the last time they played. If the Calgary Stampeders this afternoon give Ricky Ray that kind of time, it's going to be a long afternoon for the secondary for the Calgary Stampeders.
John Hufnagel's defense 6th against the pass. #1 defense against the run. First down and a play action fake. Here comes pressure. Ray avoids it, and underneath it falls incomplete. And I think he just got rid of that with the pressure turned up from Juwan Armour.
That was the quote from John Hufnagel. Make it uncomfortable for Ricky Ray, and it is Juwan Armour, #2, who's going to sit in that middle linebacker spot. See Ray move to his right, and he comes up in his secondary contain. He flushes him up the middle and then gets some help from his friends. But you're going to see a lot of linebacker action, maybe even some blitzes from the secondary from the Calgary Stampeders to make it uncomfortable for Ricky Ray if they can.
Eddie Freeman got a shot in on Ray and now just scampers off. And Milton Collins steps on. A late substitution. Flag will go down. And Ricky Ray in trouble and doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. But again, there was a late substitution and a couple of penalty markers on the play.
Lots of movement from the Calgary Stampeders defensively to try and confuse Ricky Ray, maybe try and confuse the offensive line in their blocking schemes. Dwayne Carpenter was bouncing around in there. They weren't sure.
Illegal substitution. Calgary number 14. It's a 10-yard penalty. Becomes first down.
So Collins got on too late, or Freeman got off too late.
Personnel changes with the rosters increasing in size for the Canadian Football League. It allows coaches to make more personnel changes in certain situations. Passing downs, they'll make substitutions, and you have to do it quickly. Once the arms are up by the sideline official, you cannot come on the field.
John Hufnagel's team had 2 quarterback sacks last week. Their first sacks in 17 quarters. First down, and here's A.J. Harris looking for a hole and finding one across midfield and down to the Calgary 52-yard line.
Well, I mentioned this is more than just a football game. Every Labor Day, it's a sellout at McMahon Stadium. All the barbecuing and tailgating began very early this morning. Of course, we're coming off the weekend in Regina with a sold-out Mosaic. They're still partying in that province. That's a weekend-long festival this weekend, and a turning point in the season for a lot of teams, including these two.
And still tailgaters making their way into the stadium. It is a sellout, and it is a first down. Edmonton. There's Kamal Peterson. Hook route and a catch from Peterson at the 45-yard line. Close to 8 for Kamau, the former Stampeder.
Kamal Peterson stays healthy, should have 1,000 yards this year, but more impressively for Kamal Peterson, since Jason Tucker was injured, he's no longer in the lineup. He's really emerged as the leader in the receiving corps. He keeps everybody on the same page, and they have real balance there. I think that may be one of the strongest things that they did in the offseason to improve their football team, was to improve their receiving corps.
Assume some leadership in the absence of Jason Tucker, one player that unfortunately for Edmonton is not in their arsenal today, and one guy that Calgary doesn't have to worry about.
That's right.
Jumbo team in. Second and a yard and a half. Ray with the plunge over Calvin Armstrong, the left guard. John Comiskey, the former Calgary Stampeder, who now is the center of that revamped and much improved Calgary or Edmonton offensive line, and it is an Edmonton first down.
When you talk about Kamal Peterson, there's his numbers on the season so far: 523 yards. I think players always have defining moments in seasons, and that game that Jason Tucker went back to Edmonton and Kamal Peterson took the huge hit over the middle to make a catch, it was a defining moment for him personally, but also for his team.
Eskimos have scored 2 opening drive touchdowns this year. Ricky Ray with time and a crossing route. Calvin McCarty makes the first man miss, cuts back, and finally dropped at the 18 by Dwight Anderson, the corner. But Calvin McCarty has been a threat this year. The youngster out of the Vancouver area with his 22nd catch.
And just like that, Ricky Ray and that total calm demeanor, he got some early pressure in this series, but because of a substitution error by the Calgary Stampeders, he was able to keep a drive alive, and all of a sudden he has this football team moving and inside of the red zone.
Costly penalty. By the way, Ricky Ray, 1/3 of his completions this season have been to the backs, coming into the game with 186 completions and 62 to A.J. Harris, Calvin McCarty, Matt Bertrand, or Damian Anderson, who was the starting running back the first time these two teams met. Back to A.J. Harris on the ground, and more success off the right side as he slashes to the 11.
I think the difference between the early A.J. Harris and last week's A.J. Harris was his intensity and the way he attacked the line of scrimmage, and I'm seeing it this afternoon early in this Labor Day Classic. A.J. Harris takes the football and attacks the line of scrimmage. So if there is a little seam there, if there is a little hole there, he is in that hole immediately. And that 189, as I mentioned, tied for 5th all-time in Eskimo history.
25 touches in that game for a total from scrimmage of 219 yards. 2nd and 2 after an 8-yard run. Back to Harris again, and he'll have another Edmonton first down at the 6. This drive began at the Edmonton 25.
And aided by that penalty and mistake by the Calgary Stampeders. Nonetheless, the Edmonton Eskimos have a new set of downs on the doorstep. In the emergence of a running game for Danny Machocha and for Ricky Ray, boy, will that make this offense awfully dangerous.
Exactly what he mentioned last night. He said, I hope you guys are talking about A.J. Harris today, because if you are, our entire offense is going to be successful. First and goal, back to Harris. He'll kick it outside. And Juwan got him behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, Juwan Armour does not hesitate, shoots the gap, and what a play that he makes to try and stop some of this momentum. Armour with tremendous speed and instincts. There he is right there, and watch how Armour is going to slide here and shoot the gap. Perfect play by Juwan Armour, and that's how you run stop. You find that little opening, shoot the gap, and catch the running back in the backfield.
Armour, who's been under the weather the past 48 hours with the flu, lost 8 pounds, but flying in there to make a key play, a loss of 3. And back at the 9, 2nd and goal. Draw play, Harris has a hole. A.J. Harris, touchdown! And the Eskimos drive 85 yards on 12 plays.
And they attack the strength of the Calgary defense on this call, because the defense brings up Wes Lysak, the safety number 31, to play this play, to play a quarterback draw or a draw to running back A.J. Harris. Lysak is right there, has a chance to make the tackle, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't hold Harris out of the end zone.
What a well-balanced drive. 40 yards through the air, 35 on the ground. And A.J. Harris has an opening drive touchdown. How to for an opening drive, especially in a big game like this.
Well, missed opportunity for the Calgary Stampeders. Get this crowd into the game early because they had the stop, but the substitution penalty cost them 10 yards and a first down, and A.J. Harris took it the rest of the way, basically.
Well, this rivalry has a history of anything you can do, I can do better. Let's find out. Joffrey Reynolds has trouble with the kickoff. Tries to scoop it up at his 2, and then ran into one of his own men, so not the way they wanted to start. Reynolds gets back to the 15. So not the way the Stamps wanted to drop that kickoff. They have to start at their own 16-yard line. Into a double tight end formation. Joffrey Reynolds, the fake, and here comes pressure on Henry Burris, and right from the get-go, a little heat applied from Brandon Guillory.
He was upfield in a hurry. The Calgary Stampeders go with Joffrey Reynolds, 6.1 yard rushing average in the backfield for Joffrey Reynolds, who's climbing up the all-time Calgary chart for rushing. Very talented receiving core led by Nick Lewis, 41 catches, and Kenyon Rambo with 47, and an offensive line with 2 young rookies in there playing very well, Jesse Newman and Dimitri Sumpas.
2nd and 10. Burris has time, and a wide open receiver, and a big hit on Ryan Thelwell, who was the Labor Day hero last year with a Labor Day record 199 yards receiving.
You know, and with Ryan Thelwell, he is the only Calgary Stampeder in the lineup this afternoon that has a 100-yard game in a Labor Day Classic. So they go to Ryan Thelwell right out of the gate. Nice little dig route in the middle, and takes a big hit from Sadiq Shabazz over the middle.
20 yards for Thelwell, who's also been under the weather like Armour the past couple of days. First down, Reynolds. And tough 2 or 3 yards against an Edmonton defense that is vastly improved this season.
Well, number 3 against the run, number 3 against the pass, and improving every game out. They get Jim Davis back in the interior of that defensive line. The linebacking core has Augie Bernachea in the middle, and the veteran Shannon Garrett will be the cover down guy. And since moving Sadiq Shabazz to the safety, they think they really found something, and he put a big hit on Ryan Thelwell early in this game this afternoon.
And Shabazz, the safety, lines up on the edge and now picks up a couple of Copeland with the catch. And Jermaine Copeland has another Calgary first down as they convert on 1st, 2nd, and 10, and now 2nd and 8.
Interesting you mentioned Sadiq Shabazz coming up and playing up in the box, and he plays to the right of your screen right over here. That's Shabazz, and he goes out of the screen. He has to cover down, but they're going to move him around in this game plan to try and control Joffrey Reynolds and work on that play where Henry Burris fakes it to Reynolds and takes it around the corner, and Shabazz should be active this afternoon.
1st and 10. Quick hitter. There's Kenyon Rambo, the CFL's leading receiver, stretching for the 51, which is where he had to get for another Calgary first down.
Of course, if Henry Burris getting the ball out of his hands, how you play in the secondary won't matter much if he's getting it out this quickly, because that's a nice timing route. Kenyon Rambo on the outside, he just sits down right in front of Jordan Younger.
48th catch for Rambo, who had a couple of big ones in the late stages of the win over the BC Lions. In fact, 2 catches and a pass interference from Corey Banks, which set up the game-winning touchdown by Brett Ralph. And when you go into Saskatchewan and then into BC and win back-to-back on the road, you're a much improved and a team to be reckoned with. So 3 straight first downs for Calgary. And that pass knocked down as again pressure off the edge from Brandon Guillory. An interesting story, a guy whose career was in jeopardy after an incident here last year. There's the numbers for Kenyon Rambo, and these are up to date. He leads even before the start of action today.
Yeah, and you mentioned the 48 catches as well, on pace for over 1,500 yards. And has a little bit of everything. He can get behind the secondary. He has the speed to do that. He has the strength to break tackles and strong hands.
En route to his first 1,000-yard receiving season. Early movement as Montez Murphy jumped the gun. As the Eskimos had their ears pinned back prior to the snap.
You could just tell in this game. This is the Labor Day game. This is the Labor Day Classic because you could tell every little hit.
Offside. Edmonton 95. 5-yard penalty remains. 2nd down.
Every little hit has a little intensity to it. Every time, even in a mistake like that by Montez Murphy, you saw him jump off the ball and snap right to Henry Burris, who's in the backfield. There's just a little more jump in the player's steps, a little more intensity out on the field on Labor Day.
So 2nd and 5 now. Right there for Brett Ralph. And both Ralph boys have a catch in this opening quarter. And Brett's got a first down.
Brett Ralph, middle guy right here on the 3 receiver side to the wide side of the field for the Calgary Stampeders. Just a little breakout and a good timing throw, and we're seeing the 2 talented quarterbacks go to work. First of all, Ricky Ray, 3 for 4 on his opening drive, and now all of a sudden Henry Burris has his team moving.
And Brett Ralph, en route to his best season, comes into this game 14th in CFL receiving. Burris a lot of time, and Rambo's wide open. And it'll take a couple to bring him down. And we're getting an answer from the Calgary offense.
Kenyon Rambo is going to come down the field. He's got a long in route and then sits down, and when he does, he look how deep he gets down, and then he's going to come to the inside and then break back out. And the reason he can do all of that is because tight end formation for the Stampeders, and look at Henry Burris, all kinds of time to stand in there and deliver that football.
22 for Rambo, a first down on the 18, going for pay dirt, the end zone. Incomplete, intended for Jermaine Copeland. Henry Burris looking for his 100th touchdown pass as a Stamp.
What the Calgary Stampeders did was they sat down Kenyon Rambo and then put Lewis on the corner route, but once again Henry Burris has time to throw. Four-man pressure from the Edmonton Eskimos, who may have to go to more blitz because they cannot leave Henry Burris with that kind of time. No one in his face.
Again, those rookie guards, Jesse Newman, Dimitri Sumpas, have passed all the tests so far this season, protecting Henry Burris. 2nd and 10 from the 18. This time pressure, Burris hit, and that pass falls incomplete as Henry Burris got drilled. I believe it was the linebacker, Kenny Anatolu.
Anatolu came up to the right side of the formation, and he is going to get up there in the box, they call it, right there. That's Kenny Anatolu. So they're going to try and bring some more pressure. That four-man pressure didn't work. They do bring just four, but they switch it up with a linebacker outside, and he is not picked up by the young guys in the middle. And that's the first time on this drive that Henry Burris has had a guy in his face.
Sandro DeAngelis, the special teams player of the week, was 5 for 5 last week, and all 5 were 36 yards or less, and this is a 25-yarder. And Sandro doesn't miss those. So the Stamps answer with a field goal as they drive 76 yards.
But how are my Vancouver Canucks going to do this year?
I'll get back to you on it.
I'm with them, win or tie, you know that.
I know that. I think they're still waiting on a few free agents.
Okay.
Or one in particular. Kelly Campbell on this kick return, and Campbell up across the 45-yard line. Good return. Tristan Jackson not available today, but Campbell does a nice job. Full house, Seth McMahon and Jermaine Franklin on the sidelines.
Thanks, Chris. Well, it's hard to believe that there's anything bigger than the Classic on this day, but unfortunately, there is. The Stamps defensive lineman Eddie Freeman is from Mobile, Alabama, which is just over 100 miles outside of New Orleans, which we all know is currently being pelted by Hurricane Gustav. Now, the Freemans have a couple of properties in the areas, one in Mobile, one in New Orleans. Now, Freeman has already lost one property to Hurricane Katrina, and when I asked him about the prospect of losing another one, he simply said, it's all right, life goes on. And to use his analogy, if you're dancing and you can't find the rhythm, you just got to keep on dancing until you find the right steps, whatever that means.
Oh, he's seen me dance, but he did some dancing there, a little heat on the quarterback, Ricky Ray, and there are many players involved that come from that Gulf area. Shannon Garrett lost his home in Hurricane Katrina in St. Louis, Mississippi, and you know, they're not thinking about it right now, but they have been up to, and right after the game, their thoughts will go back to their home area. 2nd and 10. Here comes the blitz. Ray with a quick hitter, and Fred Stamps has the catch and a first down. Stamps, who was acquired from Calgary last year, is able to move the chains for the Eskimos.
Yeah, we obviously reminded of reality with Eddie Freeman and all the players, lots of players that are playing in the Canadian Football League from the States that are watching that hurricane, and we just hope that it's not too strong and the damage not too bad. They've evacuated, and the professionals could still maintain their concentration and play, and Eddie Freeman's off to a good start. I loved his quote in a local newspaper here in Calgary heading into this game about pressuring Ricky Ray. He said it's kind of like when you have steam in a pipe and you keep adding pressure and adding pressure. No matter how strong that pipe is, no matter how thick that pipe is, you keep adding pressure, sooner or later it's going to pop. And that's what he said about pressuring Ricky Ray.
Into the final minute of this first quarter. Drop, Harris, and he's caught again behind the line of scrimmage. Howard Hodges was there, and Eddie Freeman in the mix as well. A loss of 3.
Excellent push by the two of them up front. And watch how close and uptight. Look at the intensity in his eyes. Lots of things going on in his life. Unsure about his home down in Alabama, and he is focused and playing great football. Steps up in there and makes a nice play.
So that moves the football back onto the Eskimos' side of half. And it's 2nd and 13. Pressure off the edge. Ray gets it away. And Kamau Peterson jolts it out at the 43-yard line, but that's another first down.
Just marvel at Ricky Ray's demeanor. It's amazing to me, a quarterback that previous play loses some yardage. He's in 2nd and long. He stays in there. He has a man in his face, drops the ball off, takes the only weakness in that zone from the Calgary Stampeders, which was that little push route to Kamau Peterson, who picks up the first down on his own. And Ricky Ray's demeanor is unbelievable.
Halfback blitz from Julian Battle, but Ricky Ray is able to convert 2nd and 13, keep it alive. Short drop, protection, and the long out for McCarty, and that was almost intercepted. Shannon James was there, and he almost had one going the other way. End of quarter number 1. It was a good one. First quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Nice balance for the Edmonton Eskimos. 33 yards rushing that first drive. A.J. Harris involved. And the Calgary Stampeders in that first quarter had just one offensive series, so haven't really been able to establish any rushing yards.
Well, you'll notice Labor Day, there's a few new wrinkles, including the green helmets that the Eskimos are sporting. And there's also going to be a special auction of many of these helmets to raise money for the Eskimos Women's Dinner, which is October the 2nd at Commonwealth Stadium, to raise fund for research into ovarian cancer, a subject very close to the Eskimos' heart. Longtime secretary passed away, Pam Monastersky, who was such a fixture with the Eskimos, and she succumbed to that disease, and we hope you can support that cause in Edmonton. And many of the helmets will be auctioned off starting on the 4th of September. A.J. Harris with flags down, took that little swing pass, has another first down, but again, penalty markers are on the play.
I love the look. I think those helmets are sharp. I mean, they have that nice double E on the side. I love the dark green, and the players, they'll wear them for 2 games. They'll wear them for
holding. Edmonton number 2, penalty before yards were gained. Therefore, it's applied from the last scrimmage, 10 yards, 2nd down repeated.
Penalty will bring that A.J. Harris gain back, but the helmets will be worn on Labor Day here this afternoon, and then in the rematch in Edmonton, and then there'll be star players signing those helmets for that auction, all for a good cause, as you mentioned, Chris. And Kamau Peterson, Ricky Ray, Shadiq Shabazz, Noel Prefontaine. That's just to name a few of the names. So you get a great souvenir from that auction.
So 2nd down, pressure. Ray escapes, more flags, dumps it off, and Brock Ralph unable to bring it down on 2nd and 20. And it's going to be another holding call against Edmonton, this likely to be declined.
Edmonton 66. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
So finally a stop for the Stampeders after an opening drive that went the length of the field, and Ricky Ray looked like he had something going again until back-to-back holding penalties.
Well, that last throw, really the only time that Ricky Ray in this game early on here was a little off the mark.
Marcus Howell is injured. Nate Curry, a new addition, is the return man, and what a kick by Prefontaine. It will skip out inside the 5. Well, the new chief of the defense staff, General Walt Natinchuk, with the coin toss prior to the game. So much color and pageantry in a Labor Day Classic, and we're really honored, Glenn, to welcome the General here to the broadcast booth. We like to do shout-outs to the troops. Each Friday night, we get a special chance for you to do that.
Thank
today.
you very much. Well, I would tell you that the men and women who are serving out there right now or watching this are very, very much appreciative of the support that we're receiving from all of you, from the Canadian Football League, but also from TSN. So we really do appreciate the support.
How many men and women do we have deployed now around the world?
About 3,000 men and women.
And how many of the great heroes have we lost at this point?
Well, in Afghanistan, we know we lost 93, and we mourn each and every one of them, right from the first one all the way through. and we support their families. And all those who are come back wounded, we provide them the great support that they need.
Absolutely, and to remind them that, on behalf of all Canadians, we want to thank you and all the heroes that are out there protecting our way of life.
Thank you very much. And again, the Defense of Canada starts 10,000 kilometers away. Thank you.
Long pass for Kenyon Rambo, just out of his reach. And we know that it's a tough job, and sometimes you need a little opportunity to step away from the job. And we understand that the troops are able to watch some of these games, maybe not live, but they are able to watch.
But again, they appreciate the fact that Canadians recognize what they're doing and the support that they're receiving from Canadians at events like this. And when we can show our stuff, be it the band out there today, the F-18s that flew over, members of the Navy band out there, the folks in the stands receiving the great support from these Stampeder fans, is absolutely amazing.
Now, General, I understand you're a Bomber fan.
I am.
What's going on with your team?
Hey, I tell you what, we were lucky enough to be hosted by the Rough Riders yesterday, and I tell you, the ball was not bouncing the Bombers' way, but I tell you, I said, love the one you're with, and when I'm being hosted by the Stamps, I'm supporting the Stamps, so go Stamps, go.
Well, again, on behalf of Canadians, we want to thank all of the men and women of the Canadian Armed Forces that do such a great job around the world.
Thank you for your great support. I do appreciate that.
Yes, it is a pleasure. General Walton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Canada.
A defensive stand by the Eskimos, forcing a 3rd and 8. And Burkedale's standing in his end zone, in all likelihood to give up the safety. And he will. And that will increase the lead to 9-3 for Edmonton. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN, brought to you by Sport Check. When you're in the zone, time almost stands still. Getting into the zone begins with Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sports. 2 minutes into the second quarter. The safety gives Edmonton a 9-3 lead. They'll take the ball at their own 35-yard line. And now Peterson and Kelly Campbell in motion to the right side. A.J. Harris straight ahead. Ball came loose, whistle sounded, and play was dead, but it was a slippery pigskin that some of the players continued to pursue.
It looked like a collision there between Juwan Armour and A.J. Harris. A.J. Harris, number 34 in the middle of your screen. Now let's see if that ball came out before A.J. Harris came down. Well, Shannon James also involved there. Tough to tell when the ball came out from that angle. This may help. There's the hit. And it looked like he may have been down and the ball came out after.
So give Harris a gain of 3. 2nd and 7. Into the flat. Complete. First down. And that ball's loose. And it's picked up. And Milton Collins down the sidelines. Tripped up inside the 10.
Looked like a routine play for Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos. Just throw that little out route. Real high percentage throw.
And Andrew Nowacki put it on the carpet, stripped by Dwight Anderson, the corner, and Milton Collins was there to pick up the loose change.
That's a forced fumble by Dwight Anderson. That's not a mistake by Andrew Nowacki, because he rips that football out of there before Nowacki gets to the ground. Collins' little hesitation there, and then a spurt to get inside the 10.
First to go from the 9, Joffrey Reynolds had to wait for that one to come down, and Augie Baranachea was there. That, by the way, Glenn, the 6th forced fumble by the Calgary secondary, and the secondary with just 4 interceptions, so they've made up for their lack of picks. by stripping the football, as we saw in that last play by Anderson.
And their style of defense won't lead to all that many interceptions. I won't be surprised if the Calgary Stampeders at the end of the year are dead last in interceptions. They like to play bump and run. They like to get up tight and cover receivers one-on-one. When you do that, it's tough to intercept the ball.
Loss of 3 on that pass to Joffrey Reynolds. 2nd and goal. Burris steps up and now guns to the end zone, and a knockdown by Kenny Anatolu. Intended for the tight end, Teo Johnson.
Back-to-back plays by the linebackers for the Edmonton Eskimos. First, Augie Baranachea comes up with a big one. And then Anatolu comes across and stays with his man. It's easy for a linebacker, even if he's as deep as Anatolu is there, to come up when he sees the quarterback like Henry Burris start to run. But he didn't. He stayed with his man deep in the end zone and gets the knockdown.
So this is the 7th straight field goal attempt for Calgary of 36 yards or less, and this is from 19 yards out for Sandro DeAngelis. Getting a lot of points on the board, but squandering opportunities too. 9-6 the score.
Prizes. If you make them all, you get them all. All right, it's Labor Day.
Eskimos by 3, and they'll start at their 35. And Ray under a little duress underneath. It's a catch. Matt Bertrand, the fullback, with the catch. Short gain and wearing the mic on Labor Day, Juwan Armour.
There we go. Cedar great. Cedar great. Cedar. Cedar. Hey, Broccoli! You a cupcake. You a cupcake.
I hope he's not calling Patrick Kabongo a cupcake.
No, I don't know who he was calling a cupcake, but I don't think we need to know. That was a good one.
2nd and 6. And the out for Ralph, who is separated from the football. They're going to call it a catch. That ball popped loose. And that's what the Calgary bench is telling the officials. They're spotting Ralph with a catch, but it looked like that ball came loose on contact.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders, I know Wes Lysak, the safety, gets his foot in bounds, that's for sure. But the Calgary safety was saying that's what they call that bang-bang play, where receivers supposed to have to survive contact from the defensive back. And that includes if he's just going out of bounds like Ralph was.
Brandon Browner unloaded. Did he have it long enough?
Foot in bounds.
And now ruled incomplete as the officials confer and change their mind, and the punt team on. Prefontaine kicking to the newcomer Nate Curry, who gets one block and now is brought down across the 30-yard line. Well, we've talked about the young offensive linemen, the 2 rookie guards who are protecting quarterback Henry Burris.
Those young guys go a million miles an hour, 100% every play. I mean, despite if they don't know what they're doing, we just tell them hit the opposite color jersey. And trust me, they'll give it their all. If it's a brick wall with that color paint on it, they'll probably try to run through it. And that's what I love about the young guys. And I'm eager to see how Dimitri's going to play. Being from Edmonton, he's going to be pumped this week.
There's 67, Dimitri Sumpas, who the Eskimos had in their office on the day of the draft, and then at the last minute made a trade. The other rookie guard is Jesse Newman. Joffrey Reynolds has had a lot of success this year behind those young offensive linemen. In fact, Reynolds, who was limited there, Sumpas enjoying things. And there's Jesse Newman out of Powell River, BC. Not only do they lead the league in sacks allowed, which is one impressive stat, but Joffrey Reynolds can take over the rushing lead with 110 yards today.
Really has been impressive, their play up front. You know, the downside of having a rookie is you know somewhere along the way he's going to make a mistake that may cost you a game. But the upside is that enthusiasm Henry Burris talked about.
2nd and 7, Burris steps up, he'll take off and dive close to the first down, up around the 42-yard line, something we didn't see from Burris in the first meeting against Edmonton when he ran just once and did not have a yard.
And I think Henry Burris is at his best when he is running. He's keeping defenses off balance when he runs plays like that up the middle or running to the outside to buy himself time. He's as good as any quarterback in the league throwing on the run, and his former quarterback, head coach John Huffnagel, loves when he moves around in the pocket.
Is a first down up at the 43. And quickly into the hands of Nick Lewis. Geronimo has his first catch. Close to a first down. Shabazz with a jolt that popped the ball loose at the whistle. And it will be Calgary football as Nick Lewis has his 42nd catch of the year.
There's number 82, Nick Lewis, inside receiver on the 3 receiver side, and he pushes off of Shannon Garrett. A little subtle push there to get open. And Sadiq Shabazz has been throwing his shoulder pads around a little bit, and every hit adds up.
And speaking of adding up, Nick Lewis adds to his consecutive catch streak. By the way, Calgary has not had, as a whistle stops play, some early movement. Calgary has not had a leading receiver in the league yardage-wise since 1999. They dominated over the 90s with Alan Pitt, Steve Sapunjas, but Kenyon Rambo's a leader, and Nick Lewis still very much in the thick of things in the top 10 of receivers.
Well, and Nick Lewis is a guy that Henry Burris leans on when they get down into the red zone. He loves to throw the touchdown passes to his inside receivers. As their favorite targets, they're closer, and Nick Lewis will go up and win a lot of jump balls in the end zone for him. 7 touchdowns.
Danny Machocha, I think, was the reason they stopped play. He threw the challenge flag. I'm not sure the officials saw it in time, but he believes that Sadiq Shabazz forced the fumble and that the Eskimos should have the football. Let's have a look. And was the knee of Lewis down there or not?
Well, it was definitely on the back and on the back legs of Shannon Garrett. Was he ruled down, and did the whistle blow to end the play before it came out when he reaches?
Because the knee never does hit the carpet. Murray Clark, the field judge, who also referees games, in with Bud Steen, a veteran crew for this game. And I don't believe this is challengeable, but it's a long conversation on the sidelines.
The percent and accuracy of these challenges, as tough as they've been to call, it's hard to see his left leg there.
Danny Machocha's got a case. Let's find out.
Edmonton wishes to challenge that the man was down with the ruling on the field of down with contact. We will review.
It is challengeable.
Well, you can challenge whether or not he was down by contact where the fumble
and
was caused. You can't challenge who recovers a fumble.
So they just got the challenge flag down as the snap of the football took place. And after a lengthy debate, we are going to get Bud Steen under the hood. And I think the Eskimos may have some success on this one, because the knee of Nick Lewis apparently doesn't touch the ground. Shannon Garrett holding on. And as Lewis tried to stretch out to get an extra yard, the ball popped loose on the contact from Shabazz.
Another one of those that are so close. I was going to say that the accuracy with these reviews have been outstanding this year. The help of the upstairs official to communicate with the official looking into at the replays, which is new this year.
But the issue might have been when the whistle blew, because he was being held up for a time. But Bud Steen has allowed the challenge, now is reviewing, and we await what could be an Eskimo takeaway at midfield.
Well, this could go either way. I mean, all the looks that you've seen at home the official is looking at right now. Bud Steen takes a look and is in communication with the official upstairs.
Dave Ewell is the official up in the press box.
It's a tough one to call.
The ruling on the field was correct. Forward progress was stopped. It becomes second down, Calgary.
Forward progress was stopped.
Well, you know, there was 2 hits on Nick Lewis in the open field. There's Garrett, who's got him, and there's the other hit by Buell. Now, that's where forward progress, and basically they're saying that the play is over. Even if the whistle doesn't blow, they can rule that the play is over just prior to it.
See, that's why I thought they wouldn't even review it. But if you're going to review it, I'm not sure why it took till then to decide forward progress had stopped. Kenyon Rambo's forward progress was stopped. What a hit that was by Bradley Robinson.
Yeah, who was a question mark coming into this game this afternoon as to whether or not he could go. It was a final last-second decision, and he closes in a hurry. This is what I'm talking about with the intensity of the Labor Day Classic, that these hits have a little bit more behind them on this day, and that's a big one from Bradley Robinson in the open field. He puts his helmet right under the chin of Kenyon Rambo, right there.
I know Danny Machochas really liked the work of his corner. Robinson, who's taken over for Tristan Jackson. Pressure on Burris, and he's going to be brought down. The Goose, Augie Baranachea, Calgary kid, who used to come to these Labor Day games cheering for the Stampeders, has a big sack on the Calgary quarterback.
What a play, because he comes on the blitz, and Augie Baranachea is going to get cut by Joffrey Reynolds. Here he is right here on the outside. He's going to come on this thing and come up here. Watch how he gets cut and stays with it. Joffrey Reynolds with the cut block right there, takes his legs right out. He gets up, he keeps moving, he takes off and runs down Henry Burris.
Second sack of the year for Baranachea, the former Calgary Dino.
That's relentless effort. I talked to A.J. Gass, the new linebacker coach for the Edmonton Eskimos, helping out about Baranachea. He said, you know, when he gets just a little bit more confidence and starts to really deliver blows, this guy's going to be a real good one. And that kind of play right there will give you confidence.
It will also give Calgary concern because Henry Burris has taken a knee after the hit. Pat Clayton out quickly, and Dave Dickinson starts to warm up quickly. We'll take a timeout here at McMahon. Punt from Burke Dales, and here's Bradley Robinson on the return. And a jersey tackle there, tossed down by Dwayne Carpenter. 42-yard punt by Dales. One on the return as Henry Burris was able to get off under his own steam. It'll be interesting to see if he checks in for the next series. Here's the entire play that
Bradley Robinson almost got that corner. Carpenter hangs on to the jersey, and Henry Burris had a real limp coming off the football field there, and they're attending. You see all the attention he's getting on the sideline.
Good stats there. Obviously, the Eskimos have put a lot of heat on Henry Burris in this first half. Burris hits and a sack. Less than 6 minutes to go. Opening half. And that pass falls incomplete. Brock Ralph in the flat, the intended target.
Well, the fact the Edmonton Eskimos have the ball now will give Dave Dickinson a little more time to warm up, if in fact he has to. And look at Baranachea is going to fall on the back of the legs of Henry Burris here as he drags him down on that long run, and looked like his toe got jammed into the turf.
So a guy that's used to Labor Day, warming up on the sidelines in case he's needed. 2nd and 10. Kamal Peterson under the backfield. And he has a fresh set of downs for the Eskimos at the 36.
Great blitz pickup by the offensive line. I believe it was Calvin Armstrong who was right here, and he is going to just slide out and pick up the blitz coming from the outside. And Julian Battle, number 59, he realizes he has no one covering down, no one in front of him. So Armstrong slides out, picks up that blitzer. Battle is stopped, and Ricky Ray is allowed to throw the football.
So under 5 minutes remaining in this first half. The Eskimos with just one win in their last 6 visits to McMahon. Enjoying a 3-point lead here. A.J. Harrison, nothing doing there. Snuffed as Freeman was there, and Jawan Simpson. And Harris is going to step out for a play.
Ricky Ray hands that one off, and as he was taking a little look at how this play was going to develop, he took a look there, and just in front of the goalpost, he saw the gang tackling by the Calgary Stampeders, and he just kind of shrugged his shoulders like, wow, good defense play. But again, look at his face. A.J. Harris now being attended to.
McCarty in the backfield. 2nd and long. And airing it out and picked off. Lysak's got his 2nd interception in as many weeks. 3 years between interceptions, and now back-to-back for Lysak as Brock Ralph broke off his route.
Yeah, he did. That's what happened. Ricky Ray was throwing to a spot which he does so well, and he was expecting Brock Ralph to stay with his go route, and you can see Brock Ralph broke it off to the outside, and all that Wes Lysak had to do was follow the eyes and the throwing motion of Ricky Ray and track that ball down on the sideline, showing pretty good range there. And the broken pattern by Brock Ralph, and an interception for Ricky Ray.
So it is Dave Dickinson in relief of an injured Henry Burris here. The former outstanding player in the CFL. Hands it off, it's straight ahead. Look at Jeffrey Reynolds plow up to the 45. His best run of the game.
Labor Day especially is a day that momentum is so important, and you can see that interception by Lysak has Joffrey Reynolds running hard, and we'll see how Dave Dickinson, if he can move this offense for his real playing time.
Dave Dickinson with just 1 completion this year in a mop-up duty. In the loss here against Saskatchewan, John Hufnagel said he thought about putting Dickinson in, elected not to. Now airing it out for Ralph. And that falls incomplete. Terrific coverage downfield by Jonte Buell.
Well, absolutely textbook by Jonte Buell. Dave Dickinson trying to stretch the defense, maybe to tell Jonte Buell that he will go deep.
And the 3-minute warning given to the bench is 9-6. Edmonton leads on Labor Day. Let's get an update on Henry Burris from Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. Well, Henry Burris obviously hurt his left foot after being sacked by Baranachia, but it was his left toe. It was his left big toe that seems to be sprained. He called it turf toe. No official word from Patty Clayton just yet, but it looks like he's going to give it a go.
All right. See if he needs a little extra attention at the half.
Please put 2:51 back on the clock. 2:51. Thank you.
So they reset the clock here as Dave Dickinson gets set for 2nd and 10. There was a holding penalty on the incompletion that the Eskimos declined to set up 2nd and 10 at the Calgary 45.
So Henry Burris was running up and down in that break on the sideline. He looked pretty good. He looked like he will be able to return, but Hufnagel may just leave Dave Dickinson in for this series.
Here comes pressure. Dickinson. Jermaine Copeland's got it. Well, he's been quiet a lot of this year, but Jermaine Copeland comes up with one of his biggest plays of the season. 39 yards.
He really has been quiet. Just 22 catches coming in, and many people expecting a lot more from Jermaine Copeland. He runs the corner route here, number 80, and he gets open in between the coverage and makes a very difficult catch. We talked earlier with Kamal Peterson about defining moments. Maybe that's the catch. that gets Jermaine Copeland going.
Only his third catch over 20 yards, and one was a 50-yarder simultaneous catch on a Hail Mary at the end of a game earlier this season. Reynolds around the corner, and he'll be forced out there by Anatolu.
Dave Dickinson back there and just slinging it deep. That's a couple in a row. He goes to Brett Ralph that was covered well by Jonte Buell, then goes right back to Jermaine Copeland. So obviously from watching on the sideline, and I still can't get my head around the fact that Dave Dickinson comes off the bench as the #2 quarterback. I mean, that's just amazing, the depth that John Hufnagel has.
And not even a fragment of controversy about it. Dickinson's accepted the role, enjoys the role, flags down. Along the sidelines, Rambo came down with it, but he was out of bounds.
And I think Jermaine Copeland was offside for the Calgary Stampeders. A little excited after that deep catch. I think he just got into that neutral zone. At least he was one of them.
Offside. Calgary number 80. Penalty is declined. Becomes 3rd down.
So it was indeed Copeland, and it will go to 3rd down. And DeAngelis on once again. And this might start to concern John Hufnagel, if it didn't already, that Sandro DeAngelis getting called upon time after time inside the 35. 5 times last week. Well, to be accurate, once from 36 last week, but he had field goals of 15, 27, and 27 last week, and this is his 3rd from inside 30 today. Attempt, and DeAngelis good again. So 3 for 3 in this opening half, and we are tied at 9 apiece. Well, the Grey Cup has a new home in 2008, Sunday, November 23rd. TSN brings you exclusive coverage of the 98th annual Grey Cup game live from Montreal. Plus, TSN will be on site all week providing features and reports to get you ready for the big game. Sunday, November 23rd, it's the Grey Cup on TSN.
A perfect time to remind folks about that, because this Labor Day weekend to me is like a miniature Grey Cup festival. It really is. The fans are so into it. Everyone getting their face paint going and their jerseys on and packed houses, and you get that kind of feel.
2:11 left. First half, Stamps stumbled out of the break, and that pass falls incomplete.
You know, interesting here for the Edmonton Eskimos. They haven't really had a lot of pressure on Ricky Ray. He hasn't really been flushed, and yet that passing game seems to be a little bit off over the last couple of series. Remember when Brock Ralph broke off his pattern and ended up in an interception to Wes Lysak, and I've seen a couple of these even shorter routes where Ricky Ray seems to be a little bit off. Not just him passing, but the receivers running their routes.
Eskimos have turned the ball over twice after an impressive 85-yard opening march. Flushed as Ray in deep trouble, but somehow escapes. Gets some blocking, buys plenty of time, and now has Kelly Campbell at midfield.
Ricky Ray is doing more and more of this year than I've ever seen him do it, and that is to run around buying himself some time. He did it just last week, looked like almost a carbon copy against Saskatchewan, where he runs all the way to the one side of the formation, gets flushed to his left, and then peels back. Not known for a runner, but again, as he's running, he's surveying the field downfield and finds Kelly Campbell.
Turned out to be a 20-yard pickup for the Eskimos, and a first down at midfield. Fake to Harris, and now over the middle, and he's got Campbell for another first down. Edmonton at the Calgary 42. By the way, the Lysak interception was the first by Calgary against Ricky Ray in 5 games.
Ricky Ray in his Labor Day matchups only has 1 game where he threw for over 300 yards. Calgary has played him well as far as trying to limit his passing yards. Henry Burris, on the other hand, has played in 3. He's thrown for over 300 in every one of them.
Timer, please put 1-3-1. 1-3-1 on the clock.
This is a little thing so well, Ricky Ray, and very hard to shake him, hard to rattle him. If you have a successful play against him, he will come back in the next play and show you the same thing. And that was a real accurate pass. Just as I mentioned, that it looked like the receivers and the route running was a little off for the Edmonton Eskimos. Ricky Ray just dials it right back in with 2 accurate throws. One where he bought some time to Kelly Campbell, and then that crossing route.
Miguel Robitaille, the third-year defensive tackle out of Laval, getting attention. And that gives Ray a chance to go to the sidelines to confer with the Eskimo coaching staff. Minute 31 left on the clock, first half, and Edmonton trying to reclaim this lead before halftime.
Remember The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, that movie?
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
You see somebody on the field that could have been in that.
That's my Clint Eastwood and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That Ricky Ray reminds me of that guy. He doesn't have to say really anything and doesn't say much. In fact, you talk to the coaching staff for the Edmonton Eskimos, and you know, when sometimes he comes to the sideline and they'll say, well, what do you want to run? He said, I don't know, whatever you guys want to. It's
got a little smile there from Ricky Ray, but they say you never know if you're losing big or up big when he comes to the sidelines. There's really no indication on his face.
It's that quiet confidence. So, I mean, at times you'd like to have a quarterback who gets in the huddle and, you know, like a Matt Dunnigan kind of guy who gets in there and just rallies the troops, starts, you know, getting guys going. But Ricky Ray won't do that, but he has that quiet confidence.
He's got a 1st and 10 at the Calgary 42. 3-man rush, and that pass for Kelly Campbell, and that was Juwan Simpson, the defensive end, scampering back into coverage, and I think he broke up the play just by being in the route.
Yeah, he did, and you know what he did? He realized that he had made a mistake, and he goes flying back there.
Whoop.
He thought, well, I'm supposed to come on this. Oh, no, I'm not. I've got the crossing route, and good thing he has speed, because speed made up for a mental mistake there.
2nd and 10. And Ray stands in and has a man. And Kelly Campbell, who lit it up against Calgary in the first meeting with 8 catches for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, has a big play catch of 27 yards and an Edmonton 1st down at the 15.
Boys, that's a balanced attack in the receiving corps for the Edmonton Eskimos all of a sudden, even without Jason Tucker, with Fred Stamps, Kamal Peterson, and then Kelly Campbell, who layers across. And look at the accuracy on that throw, where Ricky Ray has to throw it over Wes Lysak. 71 Campbell on the crossing route, and just in front of Shannon James.
So 27, the Eskimos knocking on the door in the final minute, first half. Fake to Harris on a roll. Just gets it away. Brock Ralph in the end zone. And it's incomplete. And look at that, up for grabs. There's 2 Eskimos and 3 Stampeders in a major pileup in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, that was a major collision, and Dwight Anderson took some time to get up. Brock Ralph's trying to, and Ricky Ray just ran out of time. Shannon James had finally tracked him down, and he kind of throws that up, and both Fred Stamps and Brock Ralph try to go for it at the back of the end zone.
Not the way it was drawn up. And Brandon Browner, without the helmet, almost came down with the ball.
Get in those situations, it's who wants it more.
2nd and 10 at the Stamp 15. Better protection. Now dumped off underneath. Big play by McCarty and a 1st down. Calvin McCarty. Boy, the Eskimos love the way this kid comes out of the backfield and becomes another receiving weapon for Edmonton.
First of all, 3-man pressure for the Calgary Stampeders. 1, 2, 3 along the board. They're only going to go with 3-man pressure here. That's why Ricky Ray has the time. So this is playing right into the Calgary Stampeders' hands defensively. But
Edmonton.
McCarty made Juwan Armour, one of the best tacklers in the open field, miss right there and picks up the 1st down.
11 yards the gain, a first down and goal at the 4. And Ricky Ray's called a timeout to go over play selection on 1st and goal. 28 seconds remaining in a good first half here in Calgary.
That recognition by Ricky Ray to realize that he had just 3-man rush by the Calgary Stampeders, so he had lots of time to allow Calvin McCarty to come underneath, and then nice individual effort by McCarty to make Juwan Armour miss, because that doesn't happen very often.
So the 8th play of the drive. Double tight ends. Give to McCarty, and he was met behind the line of scrimmage. Loss of 1.
Eddie Freeman.
They wanted a bigger body inside on that Calgary defensive line, and Eddie Freeman's provided that at 3:07.
Yeah, gap cancellation by Eddie Freeman, who's going to start there and slide, and he gets in the backfield, beats the block of Patrick Kabongo. No, sir, to A.J. Harris. Or sorry, Calvin McCarty on the run.
And I'm not sure if we've seen A.J. Harris since he limped off. 2nd and goal from the 5. And into the corner looking for Stamps, incomplete. Check that, Kamal Peterson, the intended receiver. But well covered, and now the Stampeders defense comes up with a big stop.
Really was well covered, and Shannon James, who has really been all over the field. We've seen him rush the quarterback, Ricky Ray. We've seen him drop back to the middle, and he is going to be involved in this one, too. Corner route, and you can see Shannon James chasing him all the way back into that corner for Kamal Peterson. Run him down.
And you can't say corner route involving Edmonton and not think about Jason Tucker. So Prefontaine from 13 yards out, and the Eskimos have the lead again, settling for 3.
Now the question is, who for the Calgary Stampeders plays quarterback?
2nd remaining in this first half.
Oh yeah, well they'll just end this half. But who comes out at halftime to play quarterback? Henry Burris was moving around on the bench and loosening that leg up. It looked pretty good from the bench, but Dave Dickinson moved the football team. Didn't score, didn't put the major up, but did move it.
Stamps with 3 field goals, 2 of the field goals coming after Eskimo turnovers here in the opening half. And Edmonton with a touchdown, a safety, and a field goal. And through 30 minutes of the Labor Day Classic, the visitors have the lead by a field goal.
12-9 for the Edmonton Eskimos. They got to be disappointed, Matty. They did not put that ball in the end zone there.
So many opportunities.
Yeah, they had a lot.
So is Calgary, though.
A lot of shots. Yeah, but we have a low-scoring game. 12-9. Dave, Jock, Matt, and Chris with you. And right now, how about Dave Dickinson coming into the game for the Stamps in his first Labor Day Classic since 1999. He played in 2 of them, 98 and 99 in his first go-round with the Stamps. He's only played Schulte July 17th. Very brief appearance this season. And right now, the big question is, has Edmonton's defense knocked Burris out of this game? Will he be okay to come back?
Hey, distinct possibility. I mean, if you do have turf toe, it takes a while for that to respond. If Dave Dickinson comes back in, I don't think they'll miss a beat. But the issue to me, the story of the half, is how well Edmonton's defense has played by holding Calgary with all that talent to only 9 points. And to be specific, the response defense, this is after a fumble return. Henry Burris right there. Look at Augie Berenicia right there. Solid tackle, very little in terms of gain yardage. Outside pass rush, inside step, inaccurate pass. That's a great response defense. Another example, closing, hitting, speed. And another example here, pass rush. And here comes Berenicia, falls on the heel of Burris, which squishes the toe, hyperextends it back. Even if they have to go with Dave Dickinson, they got a shot. But Edmonton's defense, outstanding in the first half.
Squish is a technical term, medical technical term?
It's Schulte's
The
term.
football.
It's Schulte's
Squishing.
term. That's
Squishing
okay.
is definitely
I was
football.
impressed with Bernatici's closing speed on Burris right there. I mean, he tracked Burris down. We've seen Burris run away from linebackers before. Speaking of running away, watch A.J. Harris in the first half for the Eskimos. He is simply starting to flex his muscles for this backfield in the Eskimos, and he's much better this way. Watch him. He is outstanding when he gets his shoulders going north and south. That means down the field. And that's when A.J. Harris can use his 225 pounds. And now this is when he gets in trouble. When he starts going sideline to sideline, he allows the entire defense to utilize their speed and track him down for a loss. And now they figure it out. A.J. certainly understands this. So do the Eskimos. They play a nice draw, tackles and fight the defensive ends up the field, and A.J. Harris scores a touchdown. Very nicely done. They're utilizing the running game for the Edmonton Eskimos extremely well. Tons and tons of time of possession for the Eskimos, and Ricky Ray is starting to ease into it a little bit, guys. Watch out for him in the second half.
Yeah, and a quick word about Calvin McCarty. The more we see this guy touch the ball,
he's great.
You know, out of Surrey, Western Washington, I mean, he's he's becoming a...
He's making things happen.
He makes it look easy. He is.
Yeah, he's lots of fun to watch. What I've been having fun watching is that relationship between receiver and quarterback. We talked a lot about it this year and about sometimes new quarterbacks, new receivers getting together. Of course, that's not the problem for either of these football teams. They've established long-term relationships, but yet sometimes still communication breaks down. Now, I want to talk about the corner pattern, which is the bread and butter for both these football teams and the sort of options you have. Look, in the playbook, this is the way a corner is drawn up. However, the reality is the receiver always has the option to flatten it out if he feels he cannot get to the deep corner. Here, Kenyon Rambo feels, I can't get to the deep corner, I'm going to flatten it out. Burris sees exactly the same thing, throws it on time, and it's a completion. Here, Ricky Ray has got the same situation. However, this time, Brock Ralph, again, playbook says, run it like this. Ralph thinks he's got a guy on top of him. He decides to break it out a little more shallow. Here, they're not on the same page. Result, interception by Lysick. It's one of those things that I always struggle with personally as a receiver because there's no rule. You think you should break it off. The quarterback thinks you should go deep. You'll never know if it was right or not. But if you get an interception, it's the receiver's fault every time.
No, that was Ray's fault there.
I agree with you. I think it was, but I'll bet you Brock will be getting talked to after the game. You don't think? I'll call Danny Machoch. We'll find out.
Well, we know Ray's going to be back for the second half. Will Henry Burris be back? He was limping around a little bit. That left toe that had been squished is bothering him. It's going to be a factor. How much was it squished? We will find out very shortly. 12-9 at the half.
Back off, I'll take you on. Headstrong to take on anyone. I know that you are wrong and this is not where you belong.
Welcome back to Calgary. TSN, the exclusive broadcaster of the Canadian Football League Labor Day weekend and proud home of the 2008 Grey Cup game. 12-9, Eskimos lead. Jermaine Franklin standing by with Coach John Hupnagel.
Well, Coach, what's Henry Burris' status?
Right now, he hurt his foot. A sprained toe or sprained foot probably be the best way to say it. So we're going to go with Dave in the second half here and play it safe with Henry. And if needed, we call Henry back in the game, but hopefully it won't be needed.
With Dave in the game, what does the offense have to do to turn those field goals into touchdowns?
Well, it don't matter who's playing the game. I mean, we got to score touchdowns, no question about it. This is the second game in a row that we've kicked way too many field goals. Hopefully the second half we'll get more opportunities and get the ball in the zone.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, sir.
So it's Dave Dickinson's game. First time he has played quality minutes for the Calgary Stampeders since 2000. And Henry Burris available if needed.
Probably got that foot frozen and if needed down the line. But you heard Coach Hupnagel say, see what Dave Dickinson can do. He did move the offense. He had to settle for a field goal on his one series.
I think Henry Burris is trying to sell the coach by keeping the helmet on the sidelines.
Yeah, basically saying, I am ready. Ready if you need me. Calgary will get the ball first. Joffrey Reynolds waits for this kick.
Prefontaine drills it downfield, and it is Reynolds from his 10. And Reynolds up to the 35-yard line. And it is Dave Dickinson, as John Hufnagel said. Henry Burris actually walking out in the field a little bit, too, to give his cohort some encouragement on his way out.
Well, you mentioned the fact that, you know, when we talked about whether or not just it seems strange George Cortez sends out Dave Dickinson as his backup quarterback. But no controversy with this football team between the two quarterbacks at all. It was always Henry Burris as the starter.
Dave Dickinson started in 99 and 2000 in this game. Here's the toss left side, big room. Joffrey Reynolds across midfield and down to the 45 with his biggest burst of the game. 30 yards ripped off by Joffrey Reynolds. First play, second half.
Two big blocks on this play. Go ahead and run it, guys, and I'll show you as this thing develops who got the blocks. It was Teo Johnson on the outside, number 1, right there. Good cut block right in there. He gets that one. Now he's got the corner. Now Joffrey Reynolds gets outside. Look at Jermaine Copeland working one-on-one outside on Bradley Robinson from the receiver position.
Also the left tackle, Ben Archibald, 30 yards as mentioned. He had 77 in the first meeting against the Edmonton Eskimos. Hitch screen, and there is Rambo, and kept his feet to get another first down, and 11 for Kenyon Rambo. Good start second half for this high-powered Calgary offense, now with a new man at the controls.
You heard John Hufnagel at halftime say we've got to turn field goal attempts into majors. Well, the Calgary Stampeders are quickly getting down into that area again, and my theory on that for the Calgary Stampeders is number 21, or whoever's in the backfield as the running back. Keep him involved even if you get into the red zone.
Bunch formation wide side, but they go weak side. And here's John Cornish. Cornish, an old high school teammate at St. Thomas More Collegiate in Burnaby, along with Calvin McCarty, and now both of them have carries in this game. They were in the same high school backfield in Burnaby.
And looked like Joffrey Reynolds had a bit of an equipment issue. His helmet wasn't quite right. He got that fixed, so that one play, Cornish comes on, gets a carry, and back comes 21 Joffrey Reynolds.
Joffrey Reynolds, 2 consecutive 100-yard games coming into this. Last time he's had 3 straight 100-yard games was 2005. Toss left side again, and more awesome yards from Joffrey Reynolds. Brought down by Shannon Garrett, the 14-year veteran, in his 8th Labor Day game at McMahon.
Well, this drive has been allowed to move down the field because of the blocking in the run game. I mean, whether it's Teo Johnson, I think Rob Cote came out and put a nice block on the outside on that one for Joffrey Reynolds. And right now, and then you saw Jermaine Copeland, receiver, too, get downfield and make some blocks. Getting a body on a body here.
10 more for Reynolds, 40 yards on the drive on the ground for Joffrey. And a first down. In motion route, but they toss, misdirection. Joffrey Reynolds again. And he's out around the 6-yard line.
Yeah, Brandon Guillory got himself in a bind when he just took a little bit of a move inside on the misdirection and the fake by Dave Dickinson one way, and that really kind of froze Brandon Guillory because he's going to come off the edge from the left side here. And when he comes up the field, you see that little, he comes inside a little bit, and then the pitch is outside, and he's outflanked.
So Reynolds the key to the drive, and now it's 1st and goal at the 6. And again, they go weak side. Reynolds stacked at the 5 and pushed back. Kenny Onatolo and Brandon Guillory there to meet him that time.
Okay, well, here's the play. This is the play that John Hufnagel wants to see changed or see different results, because the field goals have been last 2 games now, and this is the big, like you say in baseball, this is the money pitch right here.
What's Dave Dickinson got? 2nd and goal from the 5. 4 receivers wide side. Rambo to the short side, and now Copeland over there, over the middle, and out of the reach of Brett Ralph. Flag down.
Yeah, flag down right in the middle. Dave Dickinson went down after the throw. Just out of the reach of Brett Ralph.
I think it's going against Edmonton.
Major foul.
Roughing the passer. Edmonton 44, half the distance, first down.
Costly penalty, as Danny Machocha shows you.
Dave Dickinson up over the top. There's the hit.
Kenny Anatolu.
Kenny Anatolu steps into Dave Dickinson, and just it was the nature of the hit more than the timing of it that drew the penalty flag.
Half the distance. Takes it just outside the 2. Pitch right side. Reynolds. Touchdown.
Well, they get another chance, but they throw a strike on the money pitch.
First major of the game for the Stampeders. The 8th touchdown run of the year for Joffrey Reynolds.
Joffrey Reynolds on this type of play gets to pick his hole. He can take that outside. He can cut back against the grain, or he can hit it right at the point of attack, which is what he does, and finds himself in the end zone.
Stamps took a penalty that extended a touchdown drive for Edmonton early, and now a penalty by Edmonton allows Calgary to convert for a touchdown.
Stay with the offense, even if you're down inside the 20-yard line, and that offense includes 21 Joffrey Reynolds.
Kelly Campbell awaits. And he's backed up to his 5. And the speedster finds a little room and then takes a jolt up around the 30 where he's gang tackled. Let's take another look at the 8th touchdown of the year for Joffrey Reynolds.
I love this play, and I don't know why it's not used more. There's Joffrey Reynolds. I want to show you one other guy, and that's Jeff Pilon, because he's going to pull out and around and get in front of Joffrey Reynolds. So here it comes, pitch out. This play is not run enough for running backs. There's big Pilon up front, and now it's a two-way go for Joffrey Reynolds. He can take it that side, or he can cut it back, and you can't win as a defender in Shannon Garrett right there. You got the big guy rolling on you, and you got a two-way go for Joffrey Reynolds, touchdown Calgary.
See what kind of response the Eskimos can generate. Trailing for the first time this afternoon. And Ray has Kamal Peterson, a first down up across the 40-yard line as we check in with Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, Chris. A.J. Harris has not come back out for the half, and he is finished for the game. He injured his left calf, and he is out with a left calf contusion.
So the starting running back for Danny Machocha's Eskimos is out. Henry Burris, the starting quarterback for the Stampeders, on the sidelines, and now in an observer's role. And Calvin McCarty is in the backfield for Edmonton. First and 10. Time to air it out, looking for Fred Stamps. And Stamps has it, pushed out at the 30. And now they're saying, well, they're going to talk about it. One official signaled he was out, but I think the momentum of the hit took him out, and it is a catch for Fred Stamps, and the right call from line judge Rob Hill.
Well, they got together quickly there, Chris, and this is a good decision, I believe, because had Stamps come right down without the push from Brandon Browner, he would have been in bounds, and that's what the judgment of the official, that's what they have to decide on. Would he have come down if he jumps on his own and doesn't get pushed right there by Browner? I think he would have been straight down. He would have been in bounds without the push. That's the right call. And a good one on the sideline. Nice catch by Fred Stamps.
36-yard completion from Ray to Stamps, who the Eskimo coaching staff calls the X Factor, the guy who can be a difference maker in this offense. And now Calvin McCarty. A 4th-round draft choice, picked number 27 in the draft. And the Eskimos delighted with him, now say he could have been first rounder, maybe first overall, and his importance now becomes even more.
Yeah, well, he gets, Calvin McCarty gets some serious playing time in this second half in the biggest game of the regular season, the Labor Day Classic. It's a tough break for A.J. Harris, who I agree with Matt Dunnigan at halftime said that he was really coming into his own off that 189-yard game and was hitting the hole so hard that he'll have to rest the rest of the way here.
2nd and 5. And Ray as Peterson open, and he's got it, dropped it in, over the shoulder, vintage Ricky Ray. And not a bad catch either.
Oh, it was that's just an all-around tremendous football play. Ricky Ray gets plenty of time. Calvin Armstrong destroys the pass rush up front, locks his man down right there to the right of your screen. That gives Ricky Ray the throwing lane. Look at the accuracy as he drops it over the shoulder there of one defender and in front of Wes Lysak to save.
Peterson with Julian Battle in pretty tight coverage. But how about that as a response? Edmonton regains the lead. Well, a new era in sports has arrived with the launch of TSN2. More games, more sports, more choice. For example, right now on TSN2, you can catch exclusive coverage of U.S. Open tennis live from Flushing Meadows, New York. TSN2. Contact your television service provider to subscribe or visit tsn2.ca for more information. Kamal Peterson with the touchdown catch, his 4th of the year. And both teams scoring majors on their opening drives of the second half.
Offense is stepping up, and the offensive lines always starts there. And the contributing factor here, Calvin Armstrong right here. Watch the block he's going to make on Howard Hodges. He has to open up a passing lane for Ricky Ray, and he does that. As you stop it there, that's the passing lane that Ricky Ray wants. And watch how he opens it up by holding Hodges right there to the outside. That's the passing lane he needs, and he's accurate when you give him that kind of time and the lane to throw it in, and drops it right over the shoulder of Kamal Peterson.
Kamal Peterson with a go-ahead touchdown catch. Speaking of Howard Hodges, he was the man on the return there on the short kickoff and a pass for Nick Lewis. Sails high. I wonder how many reps Dave Dickinson gets in a week with Henry Burris and how sharp he can be off the bench. We know nobody thinks the game better than Dave Dickinson.
Oh yeah, and you know, he's right in all the meetings, and he's right in all the game planning. And mentally, for sure, Dave Dickinson will be ready and has shown that. He's moved the football well since he's come in the football game.
2nd and 10 from the Calgary 42-yard line. Quick hitter, Kenyon Rambo, and he's wrapped up, tossed down. Jordan Younger there. And it will be a 2-and-out for Dave Dickinson and the Stampeders.
And give it right back to a red-hot Ricky Ray. You know, that throw to Kamal Peterson in the corner. How many times have we seen Ricky Ray with that kind of accuracy on a deep ball? I swear you could put an ice cream bucket in the corner of the end zone, and from about 30 yards in, he would hit that thing 9 out of 10 times and put it right in the bucket for you. I mean, is there an accurate deep ball thrower in the last 10 years in the Canadian Football League than Ricky Ray?
If somebody's open, he finds them. Bradley Robinson back, fielding the punt. Robinson trying to change direction. He's surrounded. Mark Kalist is there. John Cornish. Ricky Ray getting set to go back to work. Oh, we're the proud home of the 2008 Grey Cup, and we'll be glad to be here for the 2009 Grey Cup. They just unveiled all of the information and plans for 2009 here at McMahon Stadium, and with more on that, let's join Jermaine Franklin.
That's right, Chris. At halftime, Calgary revealed their new, how do you like this, by the way, their new emblem for the 2009 Grey Cup, which they will be hosting. Now, their goal is to have the biggest and best Grey Cup party ever, and I love their slogan, Canada's game, Calgary's party.
You look good, Jermaine. I just wouldn't be wearing that red on the Eskimos sidelines very long.
Yeah, it might be tough to get information over on the opposite sideline, but on that side, the side you're on right now, Jermaine, you're going to be fine. Good-looking logo. I like that.
Thanks, guys. I'll take that to note.
And Scott Ackles, the organization here, of course, was a big part of the Grey Cup Championship celebration in 2005 in Vancouver. And putting together the 2009 version here in Calgary.
2nd and 6, and whoops, Garrett Jones out of his stance. Mike Labinjo on the attack, and it will likely be 2nd and 11. Garrick Jones and John Comiskey.
Procedure, Edmonton 59. 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down. Timer, hold the clock.
Well, they're going to charge Calvin Armstrong, the left guard, for the first move. But Garrick Jones and John Comiskey both were on the Calgary offensive line last year in the big Labor Day game.
Starting to turn up the volume here in McMahon Stadium.
Yes, this is a big field position play of the game. 2nd and 11, and McCarty takes the swing pass, and he's upended, got back to the original line of scrimmage, and maybe a yard more, and it'll be 3rd down.
Brandon Browner shot the gap from his cornerback position. He comes in and he'll trip up Calvin McCarty outside there on that screen pass. McCarty starts in the backfield beside Ricky Ray in the shotgun, and Ray is going to wait. Maybe doesn't wait quite long enough to think for things to develop. But there's Browner. He misses him and trips him up, but that buys himself some time and buys his teammates some time to get there and help out.
The Prefontaine into the breeze. Pretty good kick. Curry at his 44, and number 44 meets him, and the ball came loose, and the Eskimos have it. Nate Curry, the newcomer in his first game as a Stampeder, and it is Edmonton football. That's the first turnover of the game by the Calgary Stampeders.
A couple of Stampeders were trying to motion to the sideline to say that he was down, that Curry was on the ground before fumbling this ball. Let's take another look. He gets hit right there.
Onatolo flying in, and may get a challenge here as Tyler Klutz picked it up after the initial contact.
Oh, it looked like it just snuck out maybe before he touched the ground.
John Huffnagel waiting for word from his spotter's booth.
Maybe worth a look, though, if you're John Huffnagel, although you only have one per half.
And he may just save it. Looked like he had the hand on the challenge flag, and now is going to let play continue.
There's the hit. I think the ball came out just before Nate Curry hits the ground. Although, you know, that's so close that it might be worth a challenge from John Huffnagel, although, like you mentioned, it looks like he's not going to challenge this play, and the Eskimos run a quick one here, and he can't.
They're going to save that challenge flag, and Onatolo celebrates the forced fumble. Way to work. And Kamal Peterson, another catch. First down at the Stamps 35-yard line. I think the officials made the right call, and it could be important that he does hold on to the challenge flag, but that would have been an interesting challenge.
Another close one, and there's Kamal Peterson with another first down. The Calgary Stampeders have tried a lot of different things against Ricky Ray, and he's finding the answers.
4 minutes left, third quarter. Ray with a 3-point lead, and in scoring territory, McCarty. Off the left side to the 33-yard line.
You know, Kamal Peterson's had a great touchdown catch over his shoulder, and showed you on that last play that those 87 yards, sometimes that 10-yard curl is as important just to keep the sticks moving.
2002, it was a Calgary Stampeder. He had 931 yards, and everybody thought this guy was going to be a superstar. He got derailed for a while, but he's become one of the best receivers in the CFL in the last couple of years. Entered this game number 6 in receiving yardage, and he's caught a touchdown pass here in the third quarter. 2nd and 6. Pumps, takes off, and got by
Oh, Ricky Ray.
He's not supposed to do that. He made Joanne Armour miss, and he's an underrated runner. Comes up with another key first down run.
Well, he isn't supposed to do this, and that's what the Calgary Stampeders on defense have to be saying to themselves right now as well, Chris, because a 3.7-yard rushing average would indicate that he can't get away with things like that, and that's Joanne Armour. That's one of the best tackling linebackers in the game.
And he won't be calling Ricky Ray cupcake. Ten-yard run, a first down, and now Ray looks to the corner. Fred Stamps, touchdown! Well, he does that over and over again. Ricky Ray on the money to Fred Stamps.
And this time, Calvin Bannister got on the wrong side of Fred Stamps. He's open on the corner route, and Bannister will not allow Wes Lysak to get there to help him. The corner route again that Ricky Ray does so well, and you can see the outside position. 2 Calgary defenders outside and 2 deep. Stamps is underneath. Touchdown, Edmonton.
Couple of touchdown passes for Ray in this third quarter. And a touchdown off the turnover. Again.
Ricky Ray has choices. He hit Kamal Peterson on an identical route the other side of that end zone. Again, look at the accuracy that Fred Stamps does not have to break stride. He does not have to try and out-jump a defender for a high throw. All he has to do is hold his hands out. Ricky Ray drops it right in there.
Just tied Tracy Ham for number 2 on the all-time Eskimo touchdown list with 142 touchdown passes.
We're looking at a candidate that be a half-season front-runner for outstanding player in the Canadian football.
I think so. Been a lot of talk about people like Wes Cates, and they fumbled again. Oh, this is Calgary Stampeder football that they've tried to forget this season, and they're making mistakes now. Back-to-back fumbles, and there's Chris Chinsky involved celebrating another Edmonton recovery.
I mentioned earlier on in that first half that the hitting in this game on Labor Day is always just a little bit more intense. That every hit comes with a little more intent, and you can see the hits again start to add up, and those hits in the second half will pay off when you get the forced fumbles and you see the ball coming out of the hands of Joffrey Reynolds.
What a hit by the newcomer, Derek Doggett, just signed this week, number 45 out of Oregon State. They call him D-Dog, and boy, did he get Joffrey Reynolds in a sandwich with Adrian Baird, and Reynolds is still down.
Well, D-Dog was celebrating the hit before his team had recovered the football.
That's my dog.
Got on the roster because Tristan Jackson sprained his ankle in practice. Had a chance to come on as an extra linebacker and a special teams guy. So it gets a turnover there. They say that Tristan Jackson may be ready for the rematch in Edmonton.
Doggett, special teams now, may get into the defense in weeks ahead. 93 tackles in his senior year at Oregon State, and one of the best run defenses in the country, and I think Dan Kepley likes the new acquisition.
He sure does. And you know, how would you like to be a young linebacker and just have a guy like Dan Kepley come up and tell you great play, look you in the eye and say, great play, son, we like that. I mean, must be a pretty nice feeling for those young guys.
You keep doing that, we might keep you around. So after the fumble, Edmonton back to work. Ricky Ray back to work, and he'll swing it out, and nothing doing there. Calvin Bannister stepped up, and Calvin McCarty dropped at the line of scrimmage. Well, he has tied Tracy Ham, now just 2 back of Warren Moon, but Tracy Ham lit it up back in the 80s before going to Montreal, and here's the guy that he's now 2 touchdowns behind for the all-time Edmonton Eskimo lead in touchdown passes.
Speaking of the Kepley years.
Yes. The dynasty days. 2nd and 10. And the draw, sprint draw, Calvin McCarty straight ahead to the 33. And he'll get 8 and come up a couple short.
There he is, tied with Tracy Ham at 142. Edmonton all-time list. Tom Wilkinson and Matt Dunnigan.
And signature passes, really, to both Kamal Peterson and Fred Stamps in this third quarter have given Edmonton a 10-point lead, and now Prefontaine on to attempt a 40-yard field goal, which would make it a 29-16 game for Edmonton. from the 40-yard line, and that one doesn't look good. And they'll settle for 1 off the Reynolds kick return fumble. So we're in the final minute of the third quarter. First fumble, the Eskimos capitalized for a touchdown, just 1 on that. And so the lead is 11. Pitch to John Cornish, replacing the injured Joffrey Reynolds. And isn't it strange that here on Labor Day, that Cornish and Calvin McCarty, who were high school teammates, are now the running backs of record in the game, with A.J. Harris and Joffrey Reynolds shaken up.
That's A.J. Harris with his equipment off in the sweatshirt, sitting beside Calvin McCarty, trying to help him out, give him some hints as to how to beat the Calgary defense.
John Cornish from New Westminster, BC. Almost 1,500 yards for Kansas in his senior year. Whoa, trouble with that shotgun. Almost gave it away, and now Dave Dickinson will take off. And he'll come up short of the first down as the Stampeders coming unglued a bit here in the third quarter. Third quarter stats brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
The one that stands out for me here is the Edmonton Eskimos' time of possession is a little lopsided there, and that starts to pay off in the fourth quarter for Edmonton and starts to hurt that Calgary defense.
Stampeders came out in this third quarter and took the lead and looked good, and then it all came unglued, and now Edmonton scored 15 straight points.
Yeah, they're starting to make some mental mistakes. A lot of it comes from the intensity that this game brings and the type of hitting that's going on onto the field. But in that break, John Huffnagel, head coach for the Calgary Stampeders, was all over his team, try and get them to focus and make sure they stop fumbling the ball around, because it's falling apart in 2 phases for sure, special teams and on offense.
And everybody that watches Calgary knows that the fumbling has been an issue, and a major one, over the last few years in big games. Burke Dales blasts that punt, and there's Bradley Robinson backpedaling. so far in the CFL this season.
Oh, yeah, I think without question right now, Kamal Peterson has got to be considered a front runner for outstanding Canadian. And, you know, Paris Jackson in Vancouver is having a good year there. But Kamal Peterson has stepped up in such a big way. Big game, the biggest game of the regular season, Labor Day.
Looking for his third 100-yard game of the year. And Ray guns that one to Kelly Campbell wide open. Browner brings him down at the Calgary 45-yard line. And Ricky Ray continues this second half dissection.
Well, he's to the left of your screen, and he's just going to settle right down Kelly Campbell into that area right there. As he settles down here, watch Ricky Ray just over top of the linebacking core and in front of any deep defenders who aren't even in the picture. There they come, Brandon Browner. So many choices, so many weapons for Ricky Ray.
22 yards in the last pickup. He's over 300 for the 5th time in 9 starts this year. Rolling right. Kamal Peterson, another first down. Tracked by Shannon James at the 30. And it's getting quiet here at McMahon.
Well, you know, when I look at this team, this becomes a very dangerous team, the Edmonton Eskimos. Ricky Ray playing the way he's playing, on pace for just shy of 6,000 yards with his new weapons. Kelly Campbell with that great smooth speed. Brock Ralph will learn so much from Kamal Peterson, already has in this lineup. You go to Kelly Campbell, you have Fred Stamps, who, you know, a lot of the coaches feel like maybe the best in that group. You know, it just becomes a very dangerous football team offensively.
First down. Ray has time again. Fred Stamps just missed. Stamps thought he had it. Couldn't bring it in.
Ricky Ray again drops back, and this one just missed. Or it's another touchdown throw. And it was interesting that a lot of the coaches feel exactly the same way. That just inches away, but and one Stamp should have had.
Yeah, I think he almost nonchalanted that one, didn't he?
Maybe should have laid out a little bit there for that one as well, but Ricky Ray put it where he had to.
So 2nd and 10. 4 minutes into the 4th quarter. Screen McCarty. Julian Battle slowed him up, and they'll mark him out about a yard, maybe 2, short of the first down.
One of the new head coaches in the Canadian Football League, and he's got a lot of respect right out of the gate, is Mark Trestman in Montreal, who told our producer John Hines recently that he's watched Ricky Ray. Montreal hasn't played Edmonton, but he's watched Ricky Ray on television, and says he wonders if he even has a shower after the game. He looks so calm, cool and collected in that pocket, and he is on top of his game this year.
3rd and a couple, and Noel Prefontaine will try and get things back together after a messy last miss. This one's through, and it's now a 14-point Edmonton lead. Will be tomorrow.
Yeah, it's that time of year. And it's time for the Calgary Stampeder offense to get going if they want a chance here.
From the 35, Dave Dickinson. Brett Ralph Crossard, he's got lots of room. Up to midfield, Kenny Anatolu brings him down.
Now, this is a small thing. Nice play for Calgary to get started on this drive. A small thing, though, at the end of that run, Brett Ralph did not change arms with the football. He had it in his right arm, which was inside towards where he was going to get hit. Didn't switch it to the left. Didn't fumble it that time, but be careful with that.
And the Stampeders go to the hurry-up now. 10 minutes left. Try to get that Eskimo defense off balance. Short drop. Nick Lewis through his hands and almost picked off. Shannon Garrett had a chance, and Nick Lewis has had a quiet game.
Did you see Dave Dickinson? He, as well as everyone else at McMahon Stadium, thought Shannon Garrett was going to score with this football. Tips up in the air over top of Nick Lewis. I think Shannon Garrett took a little peek at how open he would have been. Dave Dickinson took off running like he was going to have to make the tackle, or at least try to. And Garrett didn't hang on.
2nd and 10 from the Stamps 54. Here comes the rush. Dickinson gets away and takes a hit. Anatolo got a shot on Dickinson there, and when Dave Dickinson starts scrambling, I'm sure a lot of people are holding their breath.
He was adjusting the helmet. Of course, that's been his issue throughout his career, is those concussions. But you talked about earlier on, Chris, that Dave Dickinson does not get nearly as many reps during the week that Henry Burris would get. So as good as he has been in his career, this is his first real playing time in 2008. He's going to have a little rust.
Burke Dales will try and pin the Eskimos. Robinson, 12-yard line. And some heavy hitting downfield there. Mark Grudegood flying in there on the stop. Remaining here in the fourth quarter.
Ricky Ray, Chris, has just taken the wind out of the sails of this sellout McMahon Stadium crowd that came in this one, and when he keeps moving the ball, they just get sitting on their hands and pretty quiet. Now they're going to try and turn it up, see if they can help the defense.
Calvin McCarty hits north, big gain. McCarty all the way to the 45-yard line. And that'll be his longest run as a pro, 26 yards.
The Calgary Stampeders have been going with that three-man front at times, and this time they just commit early, the linebackers, to different assignments, and that little seam up the middle is created. Good blocking up front from John Comiskey, the center. Calvin McCarty takes advantage.
Working against the #1 run defense in the CFL. He'll get it again. More success straight ahead to midfield, and 9 more. Well, this is the first half of the traditional Labor Day doubleheader. And the Argos and Tiger Cats are getting set at Ivor Wynne. If you're in that Golden Horseshoe area, there's still time to get down to the ballpark for a big matchup. The Tiger Cats going for the sweep of the Argos. And second place on the line in the East.
Jesse Lumsden back. Casey Printer's back. Be a good game following ours. I'm looking at that run defense starting to wear down. I mentioned the time of possession at the end of the third quarter might be starting to kick in right now on that Calgary defense.
Second and a yard at midfield. Ready to plunge behind Calvin Armstrong. The left guard, John Comiskey, the former Stamp at center. And it looks like he's got enough to move the chains. Well, they're going to bring them in and get a measurement. Last week against Saskatchewan, Danny Machoch's crew, 27 unanswered points to win 27-10. And here in the third quarter, after the first Calgary possession, they were down 16-12 and have scored 18 straight points. And have a first down just over midfield with 7:14 to go.
Juwan Armour has been the run stopper, and right now Ricky Ray is starting to run the football, trying to chew up some of the time on the clock. Juwan Armour's been that run stopper and the guy who stepped up, but you mentioned early on, Chris, that he's been fighting a real bad case of the flu, and it may be getting to him now in the fourth quarter. He certainly started out strong. That entire run defense, he lost 8-9 pounds for a linebacker. That is a lot.
Right to the air. And he's got Kelly Campbell again. That was the play that shredded Calgary in the opening matchup of the year when he caught 7 or 8 for 158. And he's got another first down catch here.
That time, Juwan Armour is going to drop. The linebackers are all dropping. Wes Lysak is the deep man right in the middle of your screen. And there's the layer that Campbell comes across the middle. He's getting chased there by Bannister because it's a split defense. One side of the defense playing zone, the other side playing man, and Ricky Ray goes at the man side when he has the speed of Kelly Campbell.
So the Eskimos with a pair of 100-yard receivers in this game, both Kamau Peterson and Kelly Campbell. Calvin McCarty has had some success on the ground down to the 25 with 5 more. Juwan Armour wearing the mic for us in this Labor Day Classic.
Here we go. Dive flip. Watch the dive flip. Dive flip. 2 back. Come on, man. Hey, way to be smart. Way to be smart. I told you he was a cupcake.
So he's still trying to talk it up down there, but the Eskimos are silencing this Calgary defense. Into the corner, Fred Stamps, touchdown. Fred Stamps has his second of the half, and that should do it, as Ricky Ray has been on target. And how about Stamps' adjustment to the football?
He did, because Stamps ran the corner route we've seen once again all game long. And this time he looks over his inside shoulder, which is his left shoulder, but he makes the adjustment on the fly because Ricky Ray threw him open. Ricky Ray saw Calvin Bannister on that inside shoulder, so he puts the ball on the outside shoulder, so Stamps is the only guy who can get to it.
We have seen a Ricky Ray clinic in the second half. And Prefontaine adds the point after.
Watch the adjustment made by that man right there. Fred Stamps is going to run that nice corner route, but when he gets off and open on Calvin Bannister here, he looks over his left shoulder right there. See him looking over that left shoulder, looking inside this way, and watch Ricky Ray drop it on that opposite shoulder, and now Stamps has to lose sight of the ball, flip his head around, find the ball again, and catch it before he runs out of bounds. He made it look easy, but it's very difficult to do.
Second touchdown catch of this second half for Fred Stamps. On the return, Nate Curry brought down at the 27 as we rejoin Jermaine Franklin.
Thanks, guys. Joining me now is Premier of Alberta, Al Stelmach, and former Lieutenant Governor Norrie Kwan. Thank you so much. How important was it for you guys to clear your calendar on this day to make the game?
This is the most famous game, the rivalry between Edmonton and Calgary, the Labor Day Classic, and it's been a thriller game. It's been a really good game, and I see Ricky Ray was on the mark very early on this game, but it's going to be next game in Edmonton. It's going to be huge. I think Calgary is going to be out for revenge.
Well, for me, of course, I played in many of these Labor Day Classics, and having watched a bunch of them since then, this has been a pretty good game today, and I hope next week's is a better rematch, closer.
Now I got to put you guys on the spot very quickly. Who are you cheering for? Who's your team?
Well, actually, I all along have been saying I'm cheering for Team Alberta. I'm looking forward to the playoffs, but I have to say that the center, Kevin Lefster, that played for Edmonton and the last time they won the Grey Cup, lives right smack in the middle of my riding, and he's a big guy, so I got to show him support. Though Eskimos are a team I've been following since, since I understood football.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine. Here's Barrett Neely, the number 3 quarterback in for Calgary now, getting some experience in the Labor Day game. A guy who has been likened to Casey Printers, that style of play.
Yeah, but this is interesting because we saw Dave Dickinson take that hit on the last series. He doesn't return. At halftime, John Hufnagel had mentioned that Henry Burris would be ready and available if he had to go to him and take Dickinson back out. Burris, not even with his helmet on, looks like he's done. And it's hard to imagine that they're sort of giving up on the game with 3:40 left.
Watched Henry Burris a few times in this second half, trying to plant, trying to do his footwork, and looked like he was anxious to get back in. There's Robinson hit hard at the 39-yard line. So 3:25 on the clock. It's a 3-touchdown lead for the Edmonton Eskimos, who have lit it up here in the second half.
Oh, here's a point of debate that maybe can be talked about in weeks to come. Which football team in the CFL right now has the best receiving corps? And I know your quarterback could sure make a receiving corps look good, but for years people have talked about the Lions receiving corps with Geroy Simon.
This is a receiving corps without their best receiver.
Yeah,
Jason Tucker
and
likely the rest of the year.
I know a lot of people will talk about the Calgary Stampeders receiving core, who haven't looked as good this afternoon.
Calvin McCarty getting more work, upended by Matt Grudegood. And the 3-minute warning is given to the benches with the Eskimos in charge. Nothing to hide.
Well, Henry Burris was injured in the second quarter, and we saw the rest of the game with Dave Dickinson until just recently. What a game for Ricky Ray. 3 touchdown passes. He may not be done yet. He passes Tracy Ham in the Edmonton all-time list. He's 1 away from tying Warren Moon. Another big game by Kamau Peterson, and Fred Stamps, that receiving core, benefiting from the play of Ricky Ray.
14 of 15 for 219 and 3 touchdowns in the second half. He's at 382 for the afternoon. In the shotgun here, and I'm a little surprised he may add to his total. Swinging it out, safe pass. McCarty is taken down behind the line of scrimmage at the 38-yard line.
Of course, both these two teams will go down the road and play in a very short work week. And when I talk to most of the players I talked to before this game, the Labor Day Classic, they sort of feel like that game, home and home, is really sort of a continuation of Labor Day, because it'll be a huge crowd in Edmonton, always is, for the rematch. See if Danny Machocha gets A.J. Harris back. He may get Tristan Jackson back for that one.
Fontaine to kick it away. And Nate Curry has that one bound by him. Back inside the 10 for Nate Curry, and dropped at the 15-yard line. But for every sack in today's game, Purelator donates the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank. Purelator, where business is going. And the Eskimos have registered a pair of sacks in this game.
Hamilton and Toronto get a chance to go to this and add to their totals.
So Barrick Neely back in for the Stampeders with just over 2 minutes remaining. We've seen all 3 Calgary quarterbacks today. Henry Burris leaving with turf toe late in the first half. Neely pass, and a dangerous one. Incomplete, intended for Nick Lewis. This Edmonton pass defense is getting better by the week.
Well, it certainly is, and when you see them ranked 3rd, they're getting better every single game. 4 weeks ago, Hamilton 265, under 300. That's a good start, and you can see how those numbers drop for every game, and again dropping today at 156 so far.
Gave up 3 300-yard games in the first 4, but have buckled down. 2nd and 10. Here's pressure. They get it away to Cornish. And John Cornish will be taken down at the 20-yard line, and it will be 3rd down Calgary.
They start to play together. You know, Bradley Robinson's played pretty well. Sadiq Shabazz moving to safety for his second game. You know, that's a defensive back who was playing linebacker for Edmonton last year, and the beginning of this year moves back to safety. They move Jason Goss over. Jordan Younger, coming from Toronto this year, helps him in the secondary, and all of a sudden that secondary is starting to play better. But I really like the move of Sadiq Shabazz, who brings the hammer in that middle. Putting him at safety has been beneficial.
Robinson at the 50. And Grudegood down to bring him down close to midfield. Time now for the TSN turning point.
Third quarter for the Edmonton Eskimos. And after Calgary had scored, Ricky Ray comes right back and drops this one to Kamau Peterson. Had to fall back and catch this as he was going down over his shoulder. That catch answered the Calgary touchdown and put him ahead for good.
TSN Turning Point is brought to you by the 2008 GMC Sierra. Professional grade. Eskimos are going to move to 6-3. 4-2 against the West. Their second road win. They won only 2 on the road all of last year. They won only 5 games last year. And at the halfway point, they'll have 6 wins, and I think are getting a little more attention around the league.
Oh, certainly are. I mean, you know, when the things that Danny Machocha, the areas that he wanted to improve were the offensive line, he's done that. That offensive line looks as good as it's looked probably in the last 2, 3, maybe 4 years up front. You know, John Comiskey helps that. Garrick Jones, a couple of former Calgary Stampeders, really helped up there. Especially Comiskey coming with his temperament, his attitude, his demeanor. But that was one improvement. His receiving core, big improvement there. Lots of weapons for Ricky Ray. And now, as we just showed you, if that defense can start to catch up, this could be a front-running team in the West.
Moving back within 2 points of the Saskatchewan Roughriders for the lead in the West. What a second half it was. And as we hit the midway point of the season, I think we do have a new candidate for outstanding player for the Canadian Football League.
Oh yeah, and you know, and that's why we love to do those power rankings, and Calgary was #1 in the power rankings, but I'd be surprised to see the Double E move up the list. Those power rankings are awful fun, but bottom line is this is a dangerous looking team with Ricky Ray playing the way is. That receiving core we talked about and all the weapons they have. You know, they want to get A.J. Harris back. Hope he's not injured too badly. He left the game earlier. We'll have to see what happens over the next couple of days with A.J. Harris, but
Ricky Ray has moved ahead of Anthony Calvillo in the yards passing at the midway mark of the season. Calvillo, the brilliant first half, throwing 21 touchdown passes. Ray was 16. Still a quarterback league.
And just to thinking again about what Mark Trestman, the head coach of Montreal, said about Ricky Ray. Do you think he needs a shower? He's just calm. He's
just another day at the office.
Yep, no problem. He looked just like that the very first series of the game. How we doing, guys? We okay? Yep. Looks up at the scoreboard. 37-16, like that. Pretty comfortable.
And that might be as much celebration as you'll see.
But, you know, again, it's that quiet confidence, and that really trickles down to his entire team, and not just on the offensive side of the ball.
Getting ready to do it again on Friday night. Here's Barrick Neely upfield, and that one knocked down. Intended for Kenyon Rambo.
Questions for Calgary Stampeders. Short week now. They go back to Edmonton for the rematch, and in that short week, are their quarterbacks healthy? I mean, they go from having maybe the best depth at the position in the CFL to 2 question marks, both with Henry Burris and with Dave Dickinson. And will they have to go with Barrick Neely in the rematch?
51 seconds on the clock, 2nd and 10 from the 29. The Stamps have won the last 2 Labor Day Classics. That streak coming to an end here. Rip Ralph trying to go up high to bring it down. And they're ruling incomplete.
It'll be interesting to see what the diagnosis is once they get to X-ray Henry Burris' toe and his foot, see if there's any real bad damage in there. You know, toe is sometimes an injury that you can freeze and play with. I've seen that happen before.
Most points scored against John Huffnagel's crew this year, 37. The previous high was 34, and that was also by the team from Northern Alberta. Barrick Neely again, and Brett Ralph has the catch. And the first down on a 3rd and 10 gamble by the Stampeders. So let's update the Western standings at the midway point of the season. The Rough Riders ensured they'd be first with that comfortable win yesterday at Mosaic, and the Edmonton Eskimos are now 2nd. And they also get the tiebreaker over Calgary. This is their 2nd win in 3 meetings to be scheduled this year.
Very good point. It's a big one from that with regards to that tiebreaker down the road.
Neely again looking up top, and that one sailed high on Nate Curry.
It's pretty good arm strength from Barrick Neely. He had a guy in his face and threw that one. It had to be about 50, 60 yards. Had Nate Curry kept running his route.
Yeah, it didn't look like Curry thought he could get it there and was in a comfortable jog. So 2nd and 10.
I think John Huffnagel will be happy with comfortable jog.
No.
No matter where you are in the game.
A couple of turnovers in this second half started the unspooling for Calgary, and now Neely running around here, over 1,000 yards rushing in his final year of college. Scrambling around there, but brought down behind the line of scrimmage. And there are some green and gold fans here. And there will be a lot more on Friday at Commonwealth Stadium.
Yeah, this is the bragging rights. This is the bragging rights game, and then we go back to Commonwealth and Danny Machocha. Depending on the quarterback situation in Calgary in that rematch, boy, Danny Machocha has a golden opportunity with his football team to try and make it a clean sweep of their rivals, the Calgary Stampeders.
Neely the long out, Brett Ralph over there in front of the Eskimo bench, and he has hammered Jonte Buell, and they're rolling complete. And that is the final play of the game. Gun sounds, and the Edmonton Eskimos have now won one more game at the midway point of the season than all of the 2007 campaign, and they win their 2nd straight over Calgary. In the big Labor Day Classic, Ricky Ray put on a clinic, and the Eskimos scored 25 unanswered points to win it 37-16. That's the story from McMahon. SportsCenter is next.